back to part 2 of day 50 in Dublin and hanging out with the artist Guggi. There he is in a photo with Bono and Woody Harrelson and some of the different paintings that he's done. It was awesome to be there in his studio at his house to check out how things sort of get done and where he does it. And of course it all came about from watching the documentary that he did at his New York showing, and I emailed him on his website from that, and you can check all this stuff out there, and he got back to me, so it was cool to catch up with him, especially for part 2 and more of a chat of some of the stories from Guggi at his place in Dublin.
It was my work, and it was the actor Richard Harris, and he bought the 4 of them.
Awesome story.
And that, you know, that was amazing. I know he gave one of them as a present to Jim Sheridan, who the film director that he was working with at the time, and that was, for me, early on, a huge moment. Maybe the first couple of paintings that I sold are the first paintings that I sold through galleries, but that is something, as a big moment very early on, is something that I won't forget, because it was just the most incredible encouragement.
Yeah.
And I've never got sick of telling people that. You know.
Were you encouraged when you were younger, even doing it? Was it something you always had to continually have self-belief, or were there people around you supporting you when you were younger and starting out?
Well, no, as I say, it was the one area that people did give me great encouragement, because I did develop, I mean, I had it in me and I developed it quite easily, but just draftsmanship and, you know, the understanding of how something was formed, and maybe to some lesser extent how light hit it, and, you know, so on. And yeah, that really was how I got attention. But I guess that was a secondary reason. I could never put a pencil down. I always had a pencil or a pen or anything that would write. I'd do it on the back of envelopes, like most kids. But that's what I truly loved, and it never changed.
Good for you, man. Well, the first thing, I remember emailing you after seeing that documentary about their show in New York.
Yeah.
That came about. That must have been a pretty cool thing, huh? To be in a city like that, and there's your work up on the walls. That must have been amazing for you.
Yeah, that was a good feeling. I mean, I've always been in love with the city. Yeah, you know, I love New York very much, and I tried to get there a couple of times a year. And the Tony Shafrazi Gallery was the place that I showed. He represented Jean-Michel Basquiat, who's one of my favourite painters. You know, he represented Keith Haring, Andy Warhol, Francesco Clemente, Francis Bacon. And I mean, yeah, these are artists, you know, that I so admired. And the fact that he wanted to show me was, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, the show that I love making, and I mean asking everyone around the world, is about their dreams. And even thinking of asking you this question, I can see you're already living it. But if you could live the ultimate dream for you, what is it when you're still sort of making wishes? What would you have come true?
You know, I guess, I mean, I am living my dream in that sense. I do forget to count my blessings, and what I concern myself with most of the time, like most people, is my problems. How am I going to organize this? How am I going to get over this obstacle or that obstacle? So, you know, we do forget sometimes that we're living our dream, but, you know, I've an amazing wife. I have 5 incredibly handsome sons that did not get their looks from me. I have no problem saying that. And I'm, you know, my working life is my life. My family, my working life, my mates. I've got the best mates in the world, and I don't know, I'm somebody that just can't complain. Yeah. I feel incredibly blessed. Yeah. And when I remember to count my blessings, I do try and remind myself of that, but one forgets.
Yeah, so he's a super cool guy, very fun to talk with him about his own art in his own studio. Sometimes makes me realise that I'm living the dream and being able to make the show and do this sort of stuff on my own. But really cool to hang out with him for a while, especially to see some of the new work that might be showing in galleries and different shows around the world soon, which is cool. He even went upstairs and grabbed one of his big suckers. And I'm a huge fan of this one. This is awesome. But really cool to be there with Guggi in Dublin, especially to sort of get the story behind the story, and particularly on the art, including stuff like this. I was going to ask you, like, so this one here, like, how did the story behind this one?
Well, I am an instinctive painter, and you know, the reason why I write this is Russian. I think it says 9 and 10 in written. I'm fascinated by the way the language looks, and something that I never ever tried to do, and something that I don't like myself in painting, is like puzzle, some kind of a cryptic puzzle that you can work out and that can be explained. I've never been interested in that. I've always been interested in making instinctive marks. Of course, you need an idea to start a painting, and the way I would build a painting, slowly one's instinct takes over, and sometimes you've just got to get a brush and just go loose. But you know, it's not a verbal medium in that sense. I think painting and art can bypass the intellect,
Right.
and you know, speak to something else, and that's what I'm interested in. It's always been what I've been interested in. So when I write a number like this, you know, I do play with serial numbers. Sometimes if you flip a plate over, you'll see a number on the back of it.
Right.
That number might have meant something to the person that produced it, or to the person that packed it, but now you're looking at an abstract number completely out of context, and I love taking things like that and placing them in a new context. It's one of the things that I deal with, but always instinctive, right down to what the number should be, what colour it should be against what colour background, and in what type of writing. I'm always just looking for this powerful thing that when you look at a painting, because for me that's what painting is. It's not dealing with the explainable in that sense.
Okay, and how does it feel when you're sort of finished? Say this piece here, is it quite an amazing feeling when you can finally look at it and say, okay, that's done?
Yeah, you know what, just a few minutes before I completely finish it is probably the most amazing feeling. As soon as I finish a painting, I genuinely, from the point of view of a painter, seem to lose interest in it.
Right.
Because while I was finishing, I was already thinking of my next painting.
Right.
And that's what I'm then excited about. As soon as I put it down, I will look at it, and when I know it's finished, well, then it's finished. It's really got nothing to do with me anymore.
Okay. Wow. Do you have any idea of the amount of paintings you've done since you started?
No, I don't know. I've always been bad at keeping records. A lot of strong paintings have left this studio without being recorded or like photographed. Or,
Wow.
You know, the things that surround painting in the art world, I'm very bad at, and I have a mental block about dealing with them, and the responsible things that I know I should do, I so often don't do. I just like being in the studio painting. I'm not great at the dinners, or I'm not great, you know, I don't talk a very good lunch.
Singing an English garden, waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain.